go Bolts. You see it on the screen, 3-1. That makes it 5 straight wins. I don't like to toot my own horn too much, but I already did to you guys. I was talking about it on our show about a week and a half ago and said, wouldn't it be nice if the Bolts went on a nice little 10-game winning streak? Well, I don't have my sound effects, but we're halfway there, boys. Bon Jovi's going to be queued up for the next show. But yeah, it wasn't pretty. The last 2 periods weren't pretty. And honestly, the last period here, the third period, was the JoJo show to me. I mean, we don't win that game without Johansson making some huge saves, just like his boy Vasi has been doing lately. So, huge win. Only got one other goal. Like I said, next goal, probably going to win it. Didn't think it was going to be.
Didn't need it.
They needed it. Big. Who was that got that last one? It was Hagel? DeHaan. Hagel missed by
another
an inch.
defenseman.
So yeah, DeHaan. Yeah, defense is heating up, scoring.
It is, and it was something we haven't talked about on any of our shows yet. I realized the other day when Hedman scored, it was only his 8th goal of the season. That's where the scoring's down from last year. And the last couple of years is our defense. Our defense have always been really good in scoring. You usually would see them higher up there. They're finally getting in. We've seen it the last couple of games. The defenseman has either won the game or been the last goal. We saw Pervix. We saw who else was in there?
Willenberg.
No, Radish won the game the other night. And then you had Hetty the other night, and now you have DeHaan tonight. Of course, it was an empty netter. But, that shows you how important that shorthander was tonight. That shorthander ended up being the winning goal for Mott. And that was what gave the empty net, and then for DeHaan to score.
He scored the other night too,
that is the big difference about the last couple of years and now is that the defensive scoring. Now we're finally getting that blue line. We're seeing Cirelli heat up. So I like this team going in, especially now they have that extended time because the game was moved to 7:00 tomorrow. We looked at it earlier. It's a 1-hour flight time from there to Detroit. They're going straight to Detroit, and then they'll have a rest until 7:00 tomorrow night.
And let's see, actually, I'm going to pull up the standings right now. Detroit is sitting at 51 points. We're at 53, but we have a game in hand against them. So, yeah, huge game against Detroit tomorrow night. Luckily, they moved it back so we can enjoy the Bucks game and then tune in to watch our Bolts play against Detroit. Detroit doesn't play today, so they don't have the back-to-back like we do. But we have a huge advantage with Vasi going into net. So tonight's game, or tomorrow's game, is going to be a huge game for the Bolts to pick up those points and keep staying ahead of Detroit in this wild card run. Because I don't think we're going to be. I don't know. Do you think we're going to be fighting for the wild card the rest of the season, or do you think we can move up into one of these playoff spots?
I'd like to think we can move up into one of these playoff spots. Sergachev's coming back soon. Hopefully we get Chernak back. Though it's not a knock on what these kids have come up and played outstanding. Lilleberg and Crozier, I think. So he played good tonight.
Crozier.
Yeah.
That third line, that third defensive pairing has been really good. They ended up sitting at right about 14 minutes of playing time. They were a -1.
They're a -1, but the home team gets to do last changes. And we saw, I pointed out in the third period there, we saw they were putting their top line up against Lilleberg and Crozier. Tate Thompson was out there. You had Darlene out there, Cousins out there against those guys. So to only be a -1 and only 1 goal given up on the game, not too shabby.
And I see the Stamkos Cooch point line also at a -1. No points tonight at all. That's okay when we can actually have other people scoring goals for us.
Yep.
So that's really what we're going to need, especially if we do make the playoffs, which I think we will, and to make a playoff run. That's going to be huge that first line isn't scoring all of our goals or even half of our goals. So, I mean, I think it was a big win today. Defense Defensively, they did what they needed to do in those last two periods. Offense didn't look too great. It seemed like the ice was tilted, but that's okay. I mean, if we can get buckled down and play playoff style defensive hockey like we did kind of this third period and just kind of survive those rushes and get some huge saves, then we're going to be in good shape. The goals we know will come for this team. And you got to give Buffalo some credit. Buffalo played really hard today. They had a really good game, and they deserved a point probably in this one, but the Lightning pulled it off.
But if you were watching the Valley with Brian Engblom, he was talking about how the Lightning are one of the teams that spend the least amount of time in their defensive zone. And as long as they're keeping it on the outside, it's fine. It's not as bad as everybody thinks. And fans tend to get upset when they're spending so much time. And so you saw that again today. Buffalo was in our zone, but the Bolts kept them to the outside. Yeah. And so those are those low risk shots that you're willing to let them take rather than get it into the middle there. So they did do a good job boxing them out. We saw the one time they let them in the middle because of the scores.
Yeah. Well, and they did have a couple. They were further out where the players curled towards the middle, but they didn't make great shots, or JoJo saved it anyway.
Yeah. So he had a great save with a screen out. He did catch that, but he just threw his glove out. He had a tuck right in front of him with a big screen, with a big save.
Yeah, and then
to start that period.
The other thing is what you guys looked it up. He hasn't played in 20 days,
3 weeks.
New Year's Eve. Yeah.
So for him to come out and have the performance he did, Buffalo had 28 shots on goal, only one went in. I didn't see the 3 stars yet. If anyone is out there that has seen those 3 stars, let us know in the chat and let us know what you thought about the game, because we're going to take a look at some of the comments here, and then we're going to get out of here. And I know I'm going to probably watch some NFL football this evening. But yeah, so to let us know who got those 3 stars, let us know what you thought of the game. Matthew Orozco in the house. Orozco, if you're still out there, are you feeling a little bit better about the team now after a 5-game winning streak? I know you've been a little bit down from some of the comments that I've seen here, but you're saying it's a good win now, a 4-point swing game tomorrow night, as was today. Win that we're looking good. Yeah, I think tomorrow is going to be a big game on the road in Detroit for both Tampa Bay teams. You know I'm right. I did not expect JoJo to play great tonight. 1,000% credit to him. Totally agree with that. Good defense tonight. Offense showed up in the first, and that was it. Can't disagree with that. The offense was rolling in the first period. Not so much the rest of the game. Let's go over to Instagram for a second. Who's out there on the gram? We've got Kim. JoJo's been a rock from the beginning of the season. Isn't it nice to have a really solid backup goalie? Nothing against Elliott, but I got nervous when Elliott was in. And in years prior, the goalies that we had with Vassy, for the most part, I always got nervous when they were in.
Domingue was the only one I had comfort in.
Yeah. Yeah, he was okay, and okay some of the time.
Which was funny because he's the one the team doesn't like.
Yeah, he had 2 10-game win streaks that year, so obviously we had a great team in front of him, but he made the saves he needed to.
It's nice to have a guy that we can put in there and feel like we're going to get a win, especially like I said, he's got to be a first or second star of this game. Lightning are now 3rd in the division. I saw that. We leapfrog the Toronto Maple Leafs, 53 points to their 52. I'm sure they played tonight. And we have played 46 games and they have played 43. That's why I was saying earlier, are we going to be fighting for that wild card all season? Because I'm sure Toronto is going to win a couple of those games as they catch up to the 46 games that we played. We're still ahead of everyone in games played. What else you got here? Dre Sanchez, Lightning, that was you with Lightning now 3rd in the division. Lilleberg can stay. I think we all agree with that. We found a diamond in the rough with I thought I read he's Norwegian. A Norwegian defender on the team. He can skate well too. I can't wait to see him score a goal. I kind of felt like he was trying to get up there into the offensive play on Thursday night. He was really pushing. Not so much today, as it was more of a defensive game. Let Fleury sit even when he's no longer injured. That might be the plan, Kim. That might be the plan moving forward. Some of these young guys, I feel like Lilleberg, the main one, have definitely earned a spot on this team. Dre says we're still waiting for Shiri to get something going. Shiri had that amazing pass on Thursday night for Walt's Matera's first goal. So I was happy with that. But I agree. I haven't been super happy with Shiri this season. I think he's still under contract next season too.
Yeah, we got him 2 years.
But veteran player, remember, he was playing a lot of minutes on the first line in Washington last season because they had no one last season. So he's a third, fourth liner for us. He's really been a fourth liner for us. So if he can fill that role, he can stay. But I am with you there. I haven't been overly impressed with him. Lightning Before Thunder on Instagram says, hate to say it, but trade Chernak or Sergachev if possible. These young kids are playing great. We were talking about that during the game. I don't think Sergachev's going to be on the table for that.
No.
But Chernak with his injuries, listen, I'm a big fan of Eric Chernak, but with the injuries, specifically to the head that he's had with his contract, if they can offload him and bring somebody in for this playoff run, probably a third line guy or even a fourth line guy, they'll do it. The problem is it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
You got to have somebody that's going to take that
buyer.
contract, and they know about his injury history. But it's funny. We were talking about the same thing. What else we got over here on the Facebook and YouTube? We got some Sergachev hate. What I've seen is these kids is way better than what I've seen overpaid Sergachev. Easy to say when Sergachev's not playing in these games. I think a lot of us remember the turnovers, which a lot of these players are still doing in these games. And we don't remember the many plays every game that Sergachev makes on defense because they're not flashy plays. He just stops 2-on-1s or stops a scoring chance.
Well, here's the funny part of this is that, you know, everybody was bitching and moaning about Sergachev for the longest time, saying that he was the reason we were losing. We lose him, then we still continue to lose. And then everybody's like, oh, look, it isn't Sergachev. Now we're starting to win again. And you see Lilleberg and these guys coming in, and everybody's like, oh, well, screw Sergachev.
Yeah.
Sergachev's in for the long haul with this team. Coop loves Sergachev. He always has. He's in plans for a while for them. So Sergachev ain't going to do nothing except for when he's healthy. He's going to be back out there playing.
I think everyone would probably be a little bit happier if he showed up on the score sheet more.
Yeah.
Offensively. I think that's what we expect from him. And I feel like everyone really just loves to point out when he makes a mistake, when everyone on this team makes those turnovers and mistakes. I mean, Dahan made a huge one that led to a goal in the first period. Actually, I think he made two in the last game that led to Minnesota goals. Seeing a lot of the same stuff here. Stephanie says, just wonder how things change for us defensively when Sergachev and Chernak come back. Defense is playing well now. Can't disagree with that, but it could be better, and I think it could be better with both those guys in the lineup. You know I'm right. I think Elliott was the best of all our backups of this era, but credit to JoJo when Bassey was down. I don't know if I agree with that. I got nervous when Elliott was in there. And if you looked at the exception was the last game of the season where he played, where I think he had a shutout.
He did.
The 3 games before that, he let in 6 goals a game.
So the radio 3 stars were Hagel was 3rd, Paul was 2, and Johansson was 1st. I've not seen the official ones from inside the arena. I just looked at the game summary, and the 3 stars is still blank on that one. But the Lightning Audio Network says it's Hagel, Paul, and Johansson.
That makes a lot of sense to me. But Roscoe, I'm curious what, after the last 2 games, because I thought he had another solid game tonight or today. I'm curious what everyone's thoughts are on Cirelli, because he seems to be the offensive guy that everyone wants to go after with his new contract. So put in the comments what you think of Cirelli this past week and his play. Roscoe says Toronto has been playing mediocre hockey. We can get to 3rd and play the Cats. I agree. I think we can definitely catch Toronto, but they've got the edge on us right now. Shear's been nothing short of $2 million of wasted money. It's $2 million for a veteran player who's who's a playoff guy and who's won Stanley Cups. So that's a tough thing.
And
to
not
turn
always,
around that we needed.
not always, and we heard this with Stammer and the block party. Not always is a counterbalance scoring, because he talked high on Maroon and Coburn as leadership. That could be what Sherry brings to the team. Not necessarily is it scoring. We weren't a scorer from Maroon, wasn't a huge scorer. Perry wasn't a huge scorer. Coburn wasn't a huge scorer. It brings other things, not necessarily always scoring. And there's the comment from I'm right, we're winning without Sergachev. Correct, but we also won some games with Sergachev in there. Remember, he hasn't played many when Vassey's been in net, and nor has he played with this team the way it's wheeling right now. I mean, you can say a lot of things when we have an injury or something like that. Well, they're not playing since this. Well, yeah, but everybody else was playing there. He didn't have the same setup as he's having now.
There's some Sorelli love here from Corey. Sorelli set up that Paul goal, though. Absolutely. Sorelli should have had that goal on the power play, too, it looked like. What else we got here? Donnie Pepin, you're lucky I don't have my sound effects on right now because we would be getting you good. But Donnie, ironically, huge Bucks fan. Loves the Leafs, though, so we don't love that too much. Go Bucks, though, tomorrow. We'll definitely be watching that game. What else we got here? We're just going through comments, guys. If you want to leave a comment before we get the heck out of here. Stephanie, he's been playing better, but we need more goals from him. I think that's a Sorelli comment right there. Totally
is
agree.
That Sorelli or is that Sherry?
Well, good question. I asked about Sorelli. So
that's true.
Sherry is one of the many bad moves of JBB. I'm right. I disagree with that. I think who else are you going to bring in for $2 million to play on the fourth line on this team? By the way, there's a lot of rumors on the internet. Don't believe everything you hear off the internet about both Pat Maroon and Corey Perry coming back to Tampa. Yeah. Listen, at a minimum salary. No. It could happen. No. I don't know why the team would want to do that at this point. I feel like Maroons. Well, I saw a lot of not hate for Maroon, but a lot of overrated for Maroon with some of the stuff that happened with him coming back and getting the video and stuff.
Well, I think Maroon's comments when he left saying that his role was stale here. Why would we bring him back if he thinks his role is stale here? Him and Boga both made that same comments when they left here, was that they felt their roles here in Tampa was stale.
Well, is his role on the Lightning, I'm talking about Maroon, was his role on the Lightning more in the locker room or on the ice?
Locker room.
Exactly.
Locker room, for sure.
So, I don't even really want him out there on the ice for us. No. But I feel like if we could just have him scratched every game in the locker room, right, that's a different story.
That's what you heard from all the tributes that came from his return the other day, was that even Cooper spoke about it, that he was huge with the fans, he was huge with the teammates, he was huge with the sponsors. And when I had talked to Nigel a couple times there at the airport, he always said Nigel was that Maroon was the one that would sit there with every single sponsor whenever they had one of those events and talk with everyone.
Sorelli has been better. Well, that is high praise from Matthew Orozco. He's a tough cookie. But Mott greater than Sherry. I'm not disagreeing with that. Not at all.
I tweeted today. Remember, it was Archibald that we talked about in the first one. It was Archibald that decided he didn't want to play this year. We had signed him. We had some great ambition that he was going to do good this year. And then he goes to JBB and says, I'm not reporting to training camp. I'm not going to play this year. And they signed Mott right away. And I was excited about that one.
Michael Sachs Jr., good to see you back. I feel like it's been a bit. I like the sound of Perry coming back. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that, though. We've got this one spot on the roster, I feel like. And we've had ABB in there. We've had we've just been cycling in Syracuse players, and nobody's sticking. So the defense has been different, right? Some of these guys feel like they're going to stick here.
It's the Jeannot spot.
Yeah.
It's Jeannot's spot that.
So I mean, I feel like if they're going to make a move, that's the move they're going to make, right? They're going to shore up that. We talk about it all the time, right? You have to have that. You have to have not just 1 and 2 lines, which we have. You have to have a 3rd and 4th line to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Perry, I think Perry's going to come with that huge media attention because of the way he was tossed out of Chicago. You know, that's something that Vinnick does not. And
It's
the
not a
Bolts
very
themselves.
Lightning thing to do.
No. And we heard Stammer talk that about the block party, that they bring in all these world-class players and that fit the Lightning mold. That with that kind of over his head, that's not a Lightning thing. I don't see that happen.
You know I'm right. This is a classic you know I'm right comment, right? Because it ends with you guys are wrong. Exception for last year, Maroon was great on the ice as a 4th liner. Maroon left a lot to be desired for me on the ice. He's just too slow for this team.
Yeah, check his penalty minutes and how many goals were scored on those power plays that he had given up.
Locker room pissing off the other team. That's what Maroon did best. Sorry, Maroon offers a voice to the locker room. On the ice, not much. I would drink too if I had to go play in Chicago. Let's see. Go out to Instagram here. See what else we got here. By the way, if you're on Instagram, we can't highlight your comments, so we'll go here and take a look. Not much out here. Kim saying Lilleberg is better. It's that simple. I think everyone's on the Lilleberg train. And then Vasi seems to be getting better lately. 100%. So if you didn't watch Stamkos on the block party, it was kind of addressed, what's going on with Vasi. I think somebody asked the question about something about Vasi, right?
It was about them winning and stuff. We had talked about it a couple shows ago that we thought maybe he was still kind of babying it. When you come back from an injury, any kind of injury, you tend to baby that for a little bit. You're scared that you might get re-injured. And then in the block party, Stammer said the same thing. Stammer said that, he's been getting back into Vasi form, that when you come back from an injury, and he talked about from his injuries, when you come back from an injury, you're not the same until you get some games under your belt. And now he's starting to get that repetition of every other game. Every other day there's a game. There's not those. When Vasi first came back, there was Vasi played and then there was a couple days. Then Vasi played and it was a couple days off and stuff like that. And so he basically said the same thing we had agreed on just a couple weeks ago on We the Thunder, and that's why you should watch the show We the Thunder every Wednesday night. And because we talked about this, whenever you have that injury, you do baby it a little bit. And now I think he seems happy with the way his back is now. And
he's definitely playing better. If you saw some of those saves that he made on Thursday, he made some major saves. I like it because if Vasi just keeps getting stronger, ask the Bucks, ask the Eagles. It's not how you start the season. It's how you finish the season. Although this game was not an indication of that's not how you start the game. It was how they started the game because they got those 2 goals, which they really needed to win this game. Dre also adds on here, he can't stop a long-range shot if his life depended on it. Vasi has 2 weaknesses, and I'll let you comment on this because you played goalie before. Vasi definitely has a weakness on long-range shots. That's where we got scored on a lot in the playoffs last season. And then the other one, obviously, everybody knows about is high blocker. Is that something that you can fix, the whole long range shot thing, or is that just luck because sometimes you get a stick on it, sometimes you're screened? Like those are almost impossible saves to make sometimes.
It is, and I think they have a really good goalie coach. Some of what I see is fundamentals. Some of those long range shots that he's facing, he's squared to the player, not the puck. If you saw Mott's goal today,
yeah,
the goalie was squared up to Mott and not the puck. And I feel like Vasi sometimes has a habit of maybe cheating a little bit for a pass to come across instead of.
For me, it seems like Vasi's going down to her. Like I noticed on the goal the other night when me and Shooter were sitting together. Vassy went down too early. And I noticed that the game before, he seems to be dropping down a lot earlier than he used to. He used to, and I've been watching both goalies to see how they're reacting as the play's coming down to their end. And you'll see the other team's goalie tend to go down only when it's coming up near the crease or behind the net. They'll go down and then they'll go over. Vassy's dropping down a little bit too much, and then he'll pop back up on his skates if it's going to the outside. And I wonder if they're noticing that. They're noticing that he's going down too early, and it's going to be easy to do the high blocker side there, especially far out.
He's anticipating a low shot. They're just going to go high.
Yeah. I feel like he's getting better, though. I know they gave up.
Early in his career, he didn't give those up.
You're right. Didn't seem like he gave up as many. But I do feel like he's been playing better. He's been making Vassy type of saves.
And back then, he didn't have the pressure he has now.
That's true.
I mean,
he did not.
You know, he wasn't Vassy Cat coming. Now he's got this whole team. The first couple of years after Bish, you know, it was his team to have. But I don't think he had the pressure as he does as a two-time Stanley Cup champion.
3 trips, yeah.
Man, only 2 shots in that third period on goal for the Bolts. So amazing that they were able to hold on and play some defensive hockey in a huge, huge game for JoJo coming in and making sure he can secure that win and sounding like getting everyone's first star of the game.
Yeah. I can't imagine him not getting, especially being the backup goaltender.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll be back Wednesday night. I believe we're going to have JP Peterson jumping on with us at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. We'll talk a little bit more about this game. We will talk about how things go in Detroit, and the Lightning are also heading over to Philly for a Tuesday night game. So we'll talk about those games much more with JP Peterson on Wednesday night.
We're also 3 weeks away tonight from the next watch party. The We the Thunder watch party going to be at Cigar City Brewery, not at the Amalie. It's the one on Spruce Street. Again, we're partnering with them. Shooter is going to have this to be given away. We also have plenty of swag and plenty of swag and merchandise to give out. So make sure you come. Please go to the event page so we can give them. Remember, your first drink is on us. But in order for that to happen, we do have to have some kind of count so we know how many is going to go. It was packed against the Bruins, and we expect it to be even busier this time. So please get your count in. Make sure you let us know that you're coming so that we can let them know how many to do.
Yeah, make sure you register. I just put in the chat the link there. So if you want to come join us, register so we know how many drink tickets to get out. Because like you said, first Cigar City Brew is on us. And it looks like we've got several interested, but 16 committed to joining us. So let us know that you're going to be there so we can make sure we get you that beer, and we'll also probably have some more giveaways if the more people that come. So, and we're playing the Columbus Blue Jackets, so we're going to probably be celebrating a lot more than we were first Boston.
we had at least 40 people at that Bruins one, so we can do even better on this one, especially against Columbus. So come out, join us 3 weeks from tonight.
All right, Lightning play tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Don't forget, time change. You got your Bucks game, and then that should lead straight into the Bolts game. And if you want to go hang out downtown outside at the sale, just make sure you wear layers because they're going to do the doubleheader for both the Bucks and the Bolts. I think that's it.
That's it.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys on Wednesday night with JP Peterson. Until then, I guess we'll just say go Bucks and go Bolts.
Go Bolts, go Bucks.
All right. Take care.